Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Hi Loey, my name is Loey. You know, out of every trend that has come out of the scary side of TikTok, I think there's probably nothing more interesting than the concept of a mimic. And somehow, more than ever, mimics are a massive paranormal trend on TikTok that kind of breaks itself completely out of the paranormal subcategory. Because you have normal people with normal accounts, not wannabe influencers, not anything like that, posting their mimic experiences on a daily basis that go so insanely viral that it's kind of taken on a whole life of its own. As someone who's been talking about these things for years, and as someone who had an experience like this within her own family, I feel like it's time for us to truly take a dive back into what in the world is going on with mimics on the scary side of TikTok. But before we get into today's video, I want to say a big thank you to our sponsor, HelloFresh. In 2026, I made it a big goal to eat healthier at home, you know, save money on delivery costs and know what I'm actually putting into my body. But I don't always love meal prepping and planning out my grocery store runs, and I'm so busy all the time that I just wish somebody could handle all of that for me. Cue HelloFresh, who is America's #1 meal kit. They take all of the guesswork out of what I'm going to eat for the week, because with them, all I have to do is choose what recipes I want to enjoy, and then HelloFresh sends me all of the things that I need along with the recipe cards, which often take 30 minutes or less. And that's even faster than waiting for delivery, so it's genuinely a no-brainer to cook at home. I love letting you guys know what I'm eating with HelloFresh, and so most recently I loved this Tuscan white bean and kale soup. It is soup season all year for me. I love a good soup, and I'm pleased to say that this one turned out so good. Honestly, HelloFresh has also made me like more confident in my abilities in the kitchen. I feel like for so long I would convince myself like, oh, I can't cook. But with HelloFresh, I'm cooking like 3 meals a week, and so it makes me feel a lot more confident in my abilities, and that in turn has made me more excited to cook at home. It's really been a very positive change in my life. And so if you want to give HelloFresh a try, use my code LoeyFM when you go to hellofresh.com for 10 free meals plus free shipping. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New or returning subscribers only, varies by plan. Click the link below or use my code LoeyFM at hellofresh.com. Thank you so much to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video and for keeping me well fed with amazing recipes that I am just loving making. And now, let's get into the video. So before we start looking at the videos, what is a mimic? It's a type of paranormal entity that mimics you, a loved one, somebody that you know, in order to get your attention. Many people describe it as hearing their mom call out their name when their mom is not home, or seeing the back of someone's head as they walk out of a room but they're upstairs taking a nap or something like that. It's worth noting that when you Google mimic ghost, one of the first things that comes up is a wiki article on mimics from Phasmophobia, which is a ghost hunting video game. Perhaps the term gained notoriety through that. I also think it's possible that it sort of branched off as an alternate name for what I lovingly call flesh pedestrians, which originates from Navajo culture and is referred to as a type of harmful witch who has the ability to turn into, possess, or disguise themselves as an animal. The actual name of this entity in its original language literally translates to "it goes on all fours." There are others, however, who will argue that mimics have nothing to do with this and are another type of entity entirely. A lot of people associate both of these types of entities with the Appalachian Mountains, which is where many of these stories come out of. I speak for myself that my family story came out of Georgia, and online at least, the moniker of mimic goes across many different types of paranormal activity, clearly. This is an example of a mimic that I actually think is completely real. This poster was just filming themselves, seemingly crying, you know, going through a hard time. I can't tell if it's like a laugh cry or a cry, but either way, the video is captioned, "Did a ghost mimic me or am I insane?"
What the was that? My speaker's right here. My speaker's right here. What the was that? Dude, someone just talked behind me. I just heard myself echo back.
Her first instinct is to like pick up her feet off the floor as if something is gonna come and get her. Now, here's the interesting thing. Is I say that something like this feels real to me. Her reaction feels real. She looks completely terrified, as if she was not expecting to catch something like that in that moment. But paranormal evidence is faked online on a daily basis. A lot of my content these days has become about whether or not I think something is actually paranormal, as a diva who has had many, many years in paranormal hauntings herself. And mimic videos in particular are exceptionally easy to pull off. No fishing line required. No fancy editing either. Just your phone and some creepy sound effects. Or someone positioned strategically off camera. The next set of videos I'm about to show you come from a young girl living in the Appalachian Mountains who claims that her home is not only insanely haunted, but also that she's experiencing a mimic. And wouldn't you know it, the videos about the mimic go insanely viral. This one is captioned, "I'm home alone. What is this and how can I get rid of it?" It's been doing this since 2 weeks ago and I think something is attached to me.
I'm recording this to see if I can catch it on camera this time. But I'm home alone for the night and I swear I've been hearing noises.
So just outside of her bedroom door, while home alone at night, she hears somebody calling hello, hello, over and over again when she knows nobody else is home. Now, her room seems to be a hot spot for this activity because there's another video posted, a clip from yesterday when I was sending a video to my friend and then saw it.
But yeah, it was super fun.
So she says that, she's just recording this video to send to her friend. They're just, chatting back and forth or whatever. But she sees what looks like somebody in her closet. That would be absolutely terrifying for anyone, right? Except that she's caught this on camera like half a dozen times. Take, for example, this video that the poster took in the kitchen in which you can see what looks like somebody hiding behind her kitchen island. Now, there have been many, many, many videos posted on this account about this exact situation. There is one video where the poster talks a bit about her situation, says that she lives in the Appalachian Mountains, says that the house has always been a little weird, that she hears things, and then that this whole mimic thing sort of just took off and hasn't slowed down. And this is what I think for many of these situations, is that something probably did happen off camera. You probably did hear something call your name. You probably did have a creepy situation happen that inspired this series of videos. But as someone who has been watching paranormal content for a long time, if something is so clear that you have to question if it's a real person or not, probably like 9.5 times out of 10, it's not paranormal. It's gonna be a real person and it is staged in some way. However, in this case, I don't think it matters so much when it comes down to the whole mimic thing because it's taken so unseriously. At least it is in this current iteration of TikTok virality. For example, there is this trend going around where people will say the mimic is trying to learn their ringtone, and you have absolute nightmare fuel videos like this. This is another example from a poster named Laddertheman. The dog learned how to mimic my ringtone. It's over. That first one I showed you, by the way, has almost 4 million likes alone. These videos are not just going viral, they're going viral to a general audience who either, I can't really tell here, fully believes that they're real or thinks this is all like a big meme trend thing that people are just jumping on. It's almost like people are using that first audio I showed you as well, this one, this like cursed one. A lot of people use it just over their own footage and then they go viral as well. Is it that people are so scared of the idea of a mimic that they will latch onto anything? Is it that it's going to a really young audience who maybe doesn't necessarily question things like that anyway? Or does no one really care and I'm the only one who's thinking in a critical way about these mimic videos? Is everyone just in on the joke and playing along? For some reason, I doubt that last part the most. Even though you would think that's the most obvious answer, I just feel like in my time watching these scary videos on the internet, you know, and especially in the past year or so, I'd say, of us getting a bit more critical of them, of thinking a bit further beyond just the horror that they present on the surface, I believe a bit more that people just blindly believe these videos to be 100% truth. Does that take away from the scares of them? No. And you guys also know that I am not one to ever knock someone for faking a paranormal video. So that's not what this is in any way, shape, or form. I honestly just find the whole concept around it really interesting because you do assume it's a younger audience who's watching them, but then sometimes I'll see 30-year-old women in the comments section, you know, people my age saying, you know, to pray and to cleanse the space and to leave a salt circle or something like that. That's not to say that every video is fake, and that's not even to say that every video I'm showing you today I think is fake. I just think that this is a broader conversation that we need to have, you know, especially if I'm gonna debunk other paranormal videos, I don't wanna go into this entire little mimic compilation or whatever without being transparent with you about my own feelings around it. And I think that there's no better example of how easy these things are to fake than Miss Hannah the Horrible's TikTok herself. The collab you've all been waiting for, but it's just me watching Hannah's videos on my phone. So she captioned this, finally recorded it. That's my voice, but that's not me.
Hannah? Hello? It's me. Hannah? Open the door. Hello? Hello? Hannah? Hello?
Don't fall for it, they're all fake.
I also could be totally wrong, but I'm 99% sure that that's our mutual friend Dustin's voice in the background. I could be wrong, but my dear Hannah has proven here just how very easy these videos are to fake. She didn't even have to edit anything. Just plopped her iPad outside the door and acted scared on camera. That first chunk of videos though that I showed you, I mean, I feel like you and I were seasoned enough at this, okay? I think most of you were like, no, those probably aren't real, or they're definitely not real. However, what about the ones you think are real? This series of videos from TikToker Dressing Room Diaries 93 shows a mimic in her home that seems a bit harder to debunk. This first one, captioned POV "There's a mimic in my house," shows this poster just filming her own reflection in the window when she notices something behind her.
So you can see this is me and that's a glass, and you can see that there's a shape that looks like a person, but there's definitely there's no way there could be someone standing there. It kind of looks like me. It kind of looks like me.
She points out it kind of looks like her, but she doesn't think it's her reflection or a double reflection or a trick of the camera because it doesn't follow her movements. It just stays there. In the next video, she even waves her arm around and stuff, trying to prove that it's not her.
So she's back. The last time I made this video, people were saying that it's my double reflection. But I'm just gonna put up my hand here. Yeah, the sage has worn off.
This thing ends up haunting her and messing with her like this for months as well. She's posting about how it's destroying her designer bags and stuff.
Hey, I'm really tired. You need to stop. You destroyed my Chanel bags. I'm really pissed.
I had been collecting these videos and sitting on them for months, wondering what in the world could this be, because it's so clearly something behind her. Until, in this video, she finally turns around.
Okay guys, I've decided I'm gonna turn around tonight and I'm gonna be brave and I'm not gonna faint, okay? So here we go. Okay. Kyle? Kyle? Kyle, what are you doing here? You're meant to be in the dressing room. You're scaring the whole of TikTok, Kyle.
And it appears to be a cardboard cutout. I fear I'm unfamiliar with this diva. Someone's gonna yell at me in the comment section for being unfamiliar with this diva. But it's a cardboard cutout that I assume she had in her dressing room the whole time. But do you know how many people saw those Mimic videos? And then how many people saw the reveal? Because it is like night and day. Because the Mimic videos were getting millions, and the reveal, I don't think more than a couple thousand from when I checked at least. And again, this goes back to what I was saying before, that I don't really like feel any type of way about people faking paranormal content. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna say whether or not I think it's real, but I'm never gonna be mad about more scary stuff to watch. And maybe in a situation like this, it started out as a completely harmless joke, but then you have the paranormal accounts posting it. It's a vicious cycle, because if I in particular were to do my job and talk about this paranormal video going viral right now, let's say on TikTok or something, like a short form video, where somebody maybe doesn't have an attention span to stay tuned from start to finish, they're probably gonna watch it, say that's creepy, and scroll on, never knowing that maybe at the end I gave the reveal that it wasn't real at all. I notice this all the time with my short form content. And it's because of the manner of short form content. If you run in guns a-blazing saying, look at this fake paranormal video I found, who's gonna watch that? So I wanna acknowledge that, like, I totally feed into this. I watch so many accounts that do as well, because you just talk about the scary stuff going viral at any given point in time. And sometimes the reveal doesn't happen until months later. I saw my friend Morgan Lambert, who makes like Mimic videos all the time that are not real, but are based off of her real paranormal experiences, talk about this one in particular. And as soon as she did, the person posted the reveal that it was a cardboard cutout the whole time. So the videos go viral, and then they go viral again, and then they go viral again, and then they go viral again, until suddenly the narrative is gone completely. And so that's why Mimic videos don't usually make the cut into the scary side of TikTok nearly as much as they used to, because I feel like 9 times out of 10, they're not real. But that all to say, I don't think every video in this video is fake. This, for example, comes from a poster named alexservestea, and they caught something in the background of this video that doesn't really make sense, because it's her, but it's not her doing what she was supposed to be doing.
I just had the craziest happen to me. I was posting a video on my Instagram stories, and my reflection is doing something different than I'm doing in the video. Here's me talking on camera. Here's me in the reflection of the mirror doing something different. Let me show you the video. Look at this. Look at my reflection and look at me. My reflection is staying still while I'm clearly moving. And it's even more trippy because in my reflection, it looks like I am clearly head down, looking down, okay? My head is not looking down there, just like slightly, but not all the way like that. Second, in the reflection, I'm standing in front of my painting, but in this, I'm not standing in front of my painting. It looks like I'm standing straight in front of the painting, where here I am standing at an angle. What the hell? This was so trippy. When I saw it, I kept playing it over and over and over, and everybody that I've shown it to keeps playing it over and over because they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, yeah.
She totally says here as well that people are going to find a logical reason behind this, and the comment section was filled with that. People saying it was the angle, that mirrors reflect light, and so for some reason it was like delayed on camera. Here's the thing, y'all. If I caught that in my video, you could not convince me it was anything other than a paranormal moment caught on camera. Because, yeah, okay, I get it. Science. Why is her reflection lagging to that degree? You know what I mean? The stuff with like the painting and where she was standing and stuff, that I do believe is probably something with angles and the mirror being behind her and stuff, because I think the mirror is reflecting her reflection, which also goes into, some people say that creates a portal. Like if a mirror faces a mirror, it creates an energetic portal in which paranormal activity can quite literally just funnel through. To be honest, even though I know there's a logical explanation for this one, I don't don't understand it well enough to fully buy into it. So this is, I think, the first one where I'm sitting somewhere in the middle on. Like, I think that it could probably be explained, but I also think that if it happened to me, I too would believe that some paranormal stuff was going on.
When somebody asks me what does this mean, it means that all realities are happening at once. Okay? You guys know that I have a ton of glitches in the Matrix that happen to me all the time. And every time I post about it, everybody's like, you're crazy. It's this, it's that, it's this and that. Y'all are gonna keep finding excuses. I don't care. Live a boring, logical life. I'm having a fun life over here.
And to round out this video, lastly, we're gonna be talking about 2 mimic stories that I think could be real. This first one comes from a poster named Jordan. We've talked about his videos before. I think it's pronounced jordansmikle, and he has so many crazy paranormal stories. Like, he has made it into videos where we talked about mimics, into like story times, you know, like the crazy TikTok stories that we'll go through sometimes. And he also recently has started accepting follower stories, it seems. This one in particular comes out of the UK and follows a young man who hears something unexplainable while home alone.
So I was just told that apparently the UK has some mimics lurking around, and I'm sorry, but I'm not going over there anytime soon, no.
The follower's name is Zachariah, and he experienced this one night when his parents were out of the house.
He was home alone working on homework in his room, headphones on, when he heard the front door open downstairs. He told me it was the sound of keys, then footsteps, then someone saying, which was his dad's voice, "Zach, you up there?" He told me he immediately pulled his headphones back and yelled, "Yeah, I'm in my room." So he told me everything seemed normal for about 10 seconds. Then he realized something. His parents weren't supposed to be home yet. He told me he grabbed his phone and checked the time and it only said 8:43. They told him that they would not be back till around 10. So, a little confused, he told me he walked out of his room and stood at the top of the stairs. Then again, same voice but quieter this time, "Zach, come down here." He told me something about that felt off. Zachariah said it sounded like his dad, same accent, same tone, but the rhythm of his speech was strange. Almost like someone was trying to imitate him but didn't quite get it right. Zachariah told me he called out, "Dad?" But there was no answer, just silence, and then he heard the refrigerator door open from downstairs. Then it closed, then it opened again, and then it closed.
So Zachariah hears this and he just is like, something isn't right here. He kind of backs into his room, closes the door, and texts his dad, says, "Hey, are you home? Because it seems a little early for you to be home." And his dad says, "No, I'm not home at all."
From downstairs, same voice again, this time sharper and louder. "Zachariah, come down here." He said the way it said his name did not sound right. His dad never called him by his full name like that.
So Zachariah is completely petrified with fear. He's terrified here. And he hears something walking up the stairs one at a time until it stops right outside of his bedroom.
And then he heard the voice again right on the other side of it. "Open the door, son." But this time he told me that he could swear he heard the smile with it. Like whoever was saying it knew that he was scared, just so sinister. He said he didn't move, didn't answer, just texted his dad again. "Please tell me that's you downstairs." And Zachariah told me seconds later his phone buzzed. His dad ended up replying, "We're still at the restaurant. Why?" Zachariah told me he stared at that message until his eyes watered. And when he looked back at the door, the handle started to move. Not violently, just a slow twist. Back and forth, and the voice whispering, "You're making me angry." That's when Zachariah told me he thought of one thing and one thing only. He went over to his window, opened it, and hopped right out.
Now, the police end up coming out about this because Zachariah does not think to himself this is a paranormal experience. It seemed like somebody was very seriously in the house. But there's no sign of entry, no sign of anything. The only thing that there is a sign of is that the refrigerator door had been left open and there were muddy footprints in the kitchen that just vanished at some point, as if whoever had been leaving them just noped out of existence. Now, his family was very freaked out by this. They stayed in a hotel that night. When they came back the next day, there was no sign of break-in, no sign of anyone ever being there. But to this day, Zachariah says he is too scared to sleep with his door open. That's absolutely terrifying, and I totally believe could be real. Like something like that using the sound of your dad's voice to lure you out of your room, to get you downstairs. And it's definitely not an intruder because you know real people are definitely scarier than ghosts. And I have told this story a million times, but my family had an experience with this type of entity. Now, this was like over a decade ago, so whatever like viral term was being used for this ghost, I didn't exactly know in the moment. All I knew was that my dad and my brother had just moved into this house in Georgia, and they were calling me all the time, telling me how haunted it was. When I would ask, you know, how so? Assuming it was like, oh, things are going bump in the night. Oh, things are moving around on their own. It became something that I had never heard of before at that time, which was that they were seeing each other when it wasn't really them. For example, my dad said that he saw my brother walk right out of the house. Like my brother had said something, saw the back of my brother's head, heard the door open and close, watched him leave, only to hear him laughing upstairs a moment later, as if he was like playing video games or something like that in his bedroom. My brother had really similar experiences with my dad, where they would just see each other out of the corner of their eyes, always like the back of the head, never like the face or anything. But then they would realize the other person wasn't there at all or was actually in a completely different room entirely and would have no idea what they were talking about when one of them would go to the other and be like, hey, did you just walk out of the house? How did you get back into this room upstairs or something like that? And where that story ended was that there had to be some serious cleansing done on the house, and luckily it didn't happen again after that. But like I said, I own that house and I still get a kind of uneasy feeling in there sometimes. Now, our last story comes from a poster named Julia, who claims that she caught something trying to mimic her child on camera. Luckily for us as well, there is like video proof of this one too. And I'm gonna kind of let her explain the situation before we dive into it.
In this video, my family and I are on a sleigh ride in Deer Valley, and we are in the middle of the mountains. There is no one around us. The only people on this sleigh are me, my husband, the two children that you see, and the two drivers, who are two grown men. Yet in the first 5 seconds of the video, you clearly hear a loud voice that says, "Hello, Daddy."
She says that in the video that we're about to watch, whatever this thing was tried to sound like her son, but when her son talks later in the video, you can hear his voice is almost muffled, and you'll see it's because his coat is like pulled over his face. She also says her son just doesn't talk like this.
And additionally, this voice seems to have like a weird British Victorian accent. I don't even know what kind of accent it is, and my son does not speak like that. But yeah, just watch this video and let me know what you think.
Hello, Daddy.
A little warmer over there.
It's beautiful. Yeah. It's getting exercise. Snow is in my body.
Now, with this one in particular, I think that typically I believe mom's intuition on stuff like that. You know, it would be very easy to say like maybe the wind carried the voice or something like that, and we don't see the kid's face, so it easily could be him talking. But if you got a weird feeling, I tend to believe it. I also think that kids tend to have the craziest paranormal activity around them, because when I was a kid, that stuff was happening to me on a nightly basis, man, and now I maybe have a paranormal experience once every few months. And I think it's because the things that I used to believe were paranormal, I now oftentimes cast away as a bump in the night or something I can explain, even if I can't always. In this case, I understand how it could be real, but I don't think that this is the case of somebody faking this for views or anything. I think that at the bare minimum, she totally believes it is authentic and paranormal and very creepy it is, no matter what the outcome here truly was. Was it paranormal? Was it just her kid throwing his voice really well? Either way, absolutely terrifying. And that is going to be it for today's video, deep diving into the world of the mimics on the scary side of TikTok, the haunted side of TikTok. I have no idea, but I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a little bit more than obviously just diving into the videos. I wanted to talk a bit about the phenomena and why it's gone so incredibly viral, and I hope you enjoyed that, something a little bit different. If you did, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I want to say a big thank you to my subscribers who are members of the channel. If you want to join the channel memberships and get extra members exclusive perks like members only videos, you can click that little join button somewhere around the screen. We would love to have you. An extra special thank you to my VIP loves for their continued and generous support of the channel. I love and appreciate you all very, very much. I love you all very much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.